and welcome to my talk, Start Speaking Polish Now. My name is Ewa, and before I start, I would like to thank the organizer for this amazing event. It's my first gathering, and definitely not the last one because I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you enjoy it as well, all the talks and activities, and I hope you will enjoy this one as well. So, let's start with Dzień dobry. Hello. To start, let me briefly introduce myself. I already say my name is Ewa. I'm a native Pole, and languages are the core passion in my life. As you can imagine, that's why I'm here. I live in the UK, in a beautiful Chester. And what I'm doing, I'm a kind of doctor because my mission is to cure people from monolingualism, especially here in the UK. I have been teaching for the last 20 years, teaching French, Spanish, and particularly for the last 7 years, I specialize in teaching Polish, my native Polish. As I mentioned, my mission is to help people to learn a language, especially beginners who don't know where to start, how to tackle a language, and Polish. That's why I'm here. But I'm not only a teacher. I am also a learner. I love learning languages, and currently I'm challenging myself with German. So this is my new challenge. Put it to a higher level. If I don't teach, probably you will find me somewhere in North Wales, walking, exercising, or listening to Chopin. Or you can find me dancing to Latino music. I was born on the same day as Shakira, so that explains. Okay, let's move on to the session. Start speaking Polish now. So the goal of this talk it's to make you speak from the first session. It's not a crash course in Polish, but I would like you to be able to, when you leave this session, to be able to introduce yourself and know some basic must-have words. I'm not sure if you had the chance to watch yesterday's talk by Szabolk, who did a lovely presentation in depth about the Polish language. I'm going to give you some overview, especially for those who have never learned Polish and maybe would like to try. And tips on how to tackle apparently one of the hardest languages in the world. And I would like you to be able to order pierogi. Yes, pierogi, Polish dumplings. We were supposed to be in Poland, in Teresin, and it didn't happen, but hopefully next year we'll be there and you will discover amazing Polish cuisine, especially pierogi. So that's my goal for, also my goal for this talk, for you to teach you how to order them. Okay. Firstly, I would like to ask you, unfortunately, I cannot see you and talk directly, but I would like to ask you, why Polish? Dlaczego polski? Why are you here? Is there any particular interest? If you could type in the chat why you consider, why you're here, why you're learning Polish. Maybe if you are a hobby learner, type 1, or you have a Polish partner, Polish friends, family, colleagues, maybe you plan to go to Poland, or any other reason. We'll have a look later. I'm always really interested why people want to learn Polish, my native language. Right, so Polish, apparently one of the hardest languages in the world. Honestly, and personally, I don't agree with it at all. And you, as polyglots, probably you don't agree neither. Every language presents some kind of challenge, and Polish, probably at your first contact with the language, when you see all those words crammed with consonants, it really looks daunting. Yeah, how to pronounce it, all those combinations. sh, on, as we've got some hooks, slash across the L, accents everywhere. So that can really be daunting, as I said, at the first contact, and all the diacritics marks, the decorations. But believe me, once you learn the pattern in Polish, you will be able to pronounce every word. Just don't learn everything in one go. That will be my first tip for Polish learners. Don't learn the long list with pronunciation rules. Just create your own list as you go along. Let me give you some example. Let's start. The letter A. A in Polish, it's A. In English, it can be like in Kate, a different sound, or cat, there's a different sound. Good news, in Polish, it's always A. So mama or tata, mom, dad. Learn the rules, pronunciation rules, learn the rules gradually as you learn new words. Let's have a look at another example. To say bread in Polish, you say chleb, and tea, herbata. So chleb, herbata. You should just discover a new rule that basically it's the same sound. So CH, it's pronounced in the same way as like H. Chleb, herbata. Okay, let's come back now to my name. Let me introduce myself again, this time in Polish. You know already my name, Ewa. So to say what is your name, we will say mam na imię. Literally, it means I have for name. Mom, it's easy to remember, like a mom, everyone has a mom. So I have for name Ewa. Mam na imię Ewa. But before we practice, let's come back to the pronunciation rules. Let's have a look at my short name, just 3 letters, and learn some more. So the first one, English E, it's E. In Polish, it will be always E. E. W, so my name Ewa, it's V. It's always V. And final one, A. You know already from previous slides, from mama, tata, it's A. So my short name, I always use it to teach free pronunciation rules. Let's come back to mam na imię. Mam na imię Ewa. So now I really would like to ask you directly. It's a shame I cannot, but I'm going to ask you anyway. A ty and you, a ty. I put here one form, as you can see with the cup, a ty. It's an informal form, and you addressing one person. But I would like to tell you about another feature in the Polish language, that we have 2 levels of speaking. As in Italian, Spanish, or German, they're formal and informal level. So informal ty, addressing one person. And I use that one because I'm between friends, informally, between polyglots. And we have also formal forms. So if you address a lady, you would say a pani, and a man a pan. So that's just for an information. So let's come back to my question. Mam na imię Ewa, a ty? Are you replying to my question? I hope yes. Mam na imię. Okay, great. So let's carry on. Even if it's your first contact with Polish, I want to prove you that you already know some words. Yes, believe me. Even if you didn't study before, let's have a look. I prepared some words for you, and I wonder how many can you recognize? Can you guess the meaning? Okay, let me read them out for you. Wino, banan, szampan, doktor, dżinsy, komputer, restauracja, dżem, kawa, mama, woda, policja, telefon, tatuaż, jogurt, lampa. So I'm sure if you know any of the European languages, you were able to recognize a lot of them. Let's check it. Yes, there is a large body of words that Polish shares with other European languages. So as I mentioned, even if it's your first contact with Polish, you can see that, wow, I understand some, I know already some words. So that's a good start. Okay, as I said at the beginning, I would like to teach you some must-have words. Must-have words in Polish. And usually learners ask me, Ewa, what is the first if I had to learn one word, what it would be? And I always say, proszę. Proszę, which means please. That's the basic, the first meaning I would say. Proszę, pronunciation, proszę. It's a very, very useful word. Believe me, because you can use it in various contexts. So as a please, making a request. For example, you are in Poland in a shop and you want something. So just say the name of the object, product, and then say proszę. Or at the beginning, proszę, and whatever it is. So very useful one. But as I mentioned, it's not only please. It can be also you're welcome. It also means here you are when you give something to someone. It can be used as proszę, I beg your pardon. And yeah, some more meanings. So I found the 8 meanings of proszę. If you go to my YouTube channel, Digestible Polish, I've got a video about it. Let's move to the next word. So proszę, then a must know word in any language. It's dziękuję. Dziękuję, meaning thank you. Dziękuję. And to complete it, 3 important words. It looks awful. It's not so bad. Przepraszam. Przepraszam. Another tip for learning is to split the words in syllables if you are not able to pronounce them. So przepraszam. Okay, so our 3 must-have Polish words. Proszę, dziękuję, przepraszam. Okay, how are we doing? I hope dobrze. Everything is fine. And now it's time to czas na pierogi. We know that learning a language, it's not about the language itself, or not about the structure, grammar. It's also discovering the culture. And a must try next year in Poland that as I mentioned earlier, are pierogi. Pierogi, which are important part of Polish culture and cuisine today. It's a Polish dumplings. They are served in variety of forms and tastes, from sweet to salty and spicy. There are some traditional pierogi and more modern, less traditional. And so I would like you to be able to order some next year. And pierogi means dumplings, and usually we use this one in plural. There is a word, singular word, obviously, pieróg. But basically, I never heard that one. No one's using it. You never stop at one, right? So that's pierogi. But pieróg, it's a singular form. All right. So let's move to order pierogi, dumplings. Do you remember from a previous section what is this magic word to ask for something when you make a request? Okay, not her, but I hope you're saying this. Proszę. Proszę Pierogi. Proszę pierogi. It's a very useful word. I prepared for you three options. Three options of pierogi. There are many more, but I had for you pierogi z mięsem, with meat. Pierogi z mięsem. So proszę pierogi z mięsem. Next option for vegetarian. Pierogi z kapustą i grzybami. Pierogi z kapustą i grzybami. And also I had a third version for you. It's a name of pierogi. Pierogi ruskie, which are filled with potatoes, with mashed potatoes and cheese, and they called ruskie. So if there is an expert here, it doesn't mean Russian. It comes from Ruś, Kievan Ruś. So if we've got some expert here, I would like to actually to have a chat about the origin of the words. So pierogi ruskie basically are probably the most popular version, popular kind of pierogi in Poland. So potatoes, ziemniaki, and ser cheese. So our three options. Proszę pierogi. Okay, let's repeat. Z mięsem, z kapustą i grzybami. Pierogi ruskie. Okay, before we move to the next section, as mentioned, there are some non-traditional modern versions of pierogi. So now I will say some of them, and I'm sure you will be able to recognize them. So, proszę pierogi z mozzarellą. And that was easy, okay. Proszę pierogi z brokułami. Broccoli, that was easy as well. Okay, proszę pierogi z tuńczykiem. Tuńczyk, anyone? Tuna, that's right. And my last example for you, pierogi z szpinakiem. Ze szpinakiem, szpinak, spinach. So very similar. It's not so bad, this Polish. Okay, let's move on. I will actually use those pierogi. To be honest with you, I use it to prepare this, having something to tell you about the Polish grammar. If we look in a dictionary, what is the meaning of, if you want to check, for example, how do you say meat or cabbage, mushrooms? In a dictionary, you won't find mięsem, kapustą, grzybami, or even ruskie, it's a plural form here. You will find basic dictionary form. What's that? So Polish, it's a heavily inflected language. It means that we have, for each word, we have many options. Each word for many endings. Polish have 7 cases. If you never heard about cases, in Polish 7. It means that words can change the endings depending on the function of their function in the sentence. Everything, even my name, Ewa, can have 7 forms. Ewa, Ewy, Ewie, Ewą, etc. It is something difficult for someone who starts its adventure with his or her adventure with Polish. But now I'm going to my Polish learning tip. Be comfortable with mistakes. So when you start learning Polish, and if you don't use correctly cases, all those endings, imagine for 3 genders, yes, we have 3 genders, different endings, can be overwhelming. But believe me, you can communicate without cases. If you say, proszę kawa, may I have a coffee? Coffee, please. Instead of proszę kawę, which is the correct form, accusative case, you will still get your coffee. So to starters, beginners, I will say, do not worry. Speak even without cases. It will come. There is no point to wait to learn them. No, you need to learn as you go. And my next tip, will be to get friendly with grammar. I know grammar is not sexy, but it's your friend, it's your friend. And people are usually scared of seeing all thousands of rules in Polish, but for me, grammar, it's a glue. It's a glue. You can know many, many words, nouns, verbs, but we need to glue everything together, right? And that's why we need grammar. We need to learn in chunks. That's the best way, in digestible chunks. And my next rule for you will be to be a language detective. Yesterday, Lydia in her talk mentioned about being detective. I think it was when she mentioned learning Esperanto. And yes, I thought, yes, I think the same. But in case of Polish, you need to be a detective and detect all those cases, those endings, who's doing what, who's do in a sentence. I'm going to give you an example. For example, how to be this detective in Polish. We have a guy, Mark, let's call him Mark, and he gives flowers to Kasia, to lovely Kasia. So in English, it would be something like Mark gives flowers to Kasia. You wouldn't say Mark gives to Kasia flowers, no. To Kasia gives Mark flowers. In Polish, yes, it's possible. It's possible. That's why Polish learners, sometimes they understand every single word of a sentence, but actually, what is the meaning? This is a challenge here, because basic word order is, yes, it's subject, verb, object, but it can be mobile. We can place everything wherever we want. Basically, it means the same, but there's the slight nuance. The things that we put towards the end, we want to emphasize it. For example, if I say, Mark daje Kasi kwiaty, so then I want to emphasize a little bit that the kwiaty are given to Kasia, or kwiaty Kasi daje Mark. So I'm emphasizing who's the giver of the flowers. So that's why you need to be this detective. Who's doing what to whom? Who's the subject? Where's the verb? Object, direct, indirect. Be a detective. My next tip for you, in case of Polish, will be to learn the case triggers. Triggers. There is always a reason for this madness. Yeah, it may be a verb, maybe a preposition, or a verb with a preposition. It's good to learn that. For example, let's see at our pierogi. We had the pierogi z kapustą I grzybami. So what was the trigger here? It was the z, preposition z, with. Or our coffee example, proszę kawę. So we said proszę kawę instead of kawa, and the trigger for the accusative was proszę. So the good idea is to have some system to recognize, to learn the triggers. For example, I've got an idea of learning presenting a table, preparing a table. Let's have an example of our pierogi z mięsem. So we've got the mięsem form, then we need to know what's the case, instrumental, narzędnik, what's the dictionary form. Dictionary, I'm referring to what is in the dictionary, the basic form, nominative, mięso, and what's the reason, what is the trigger in this case, preposition z. O proszę kawę, so kawę is an inflected word. The case is accusative, biernik, mianownik, kawa. Reason, the verb, prosić, prosić to ask. Exactly, it's prosić to ask. Or some more examples I prepared for you. On jest pilotem, he's a pilot. So pilotem, why pilotem, not pilot? Because we have a być, to be, followed by a profession in that case. O lubię zieloną herbatę. Zieloną herbatę, accusative again. Zielona herbata, change to zieloną herbatę, because we had lubić, which introduces the direct object. Okay, so what have we learned today? A lot. Let's sum up. Firstly, I told you how to introduce yourself. Mam na imię Ewa, a ty? You can say it. And I told you about 2 levels of speaking. Then we looked at must have Polish words. So proszę, may I have, please, you're welcome, any meaning, but proszę, making a request. Dziękuję, thank you, and przepraszam, excuse me, I'm sorry. Then I told you about the pierogi, Polish dumplings. Proszę pierogi, and some options: z mięsem, z kapustą i grzybami i pierogi ruskie. Okay, and finally, I wanted to share with you and my Polish learning tips. My first tip was to learn pronunciation as you meet new words, and we've seen some of them. Then be comfortable with mistakes. That actually it applies to any language, especially in Polish. Yes, you can speak Polish without cases. To start, you just need to know the basic mechanism of the language, and then leave the fine points for later. It will come, but be comfortable with mistakes. And grammar, grammatica, it's the glue. Get friendly with it. Then I told you about cases, triggers, and I think it's good to learn them, organize it somehow. And finally, my favorite, to be this language detective. It's good to be a language detective in Polish, in any language, and do it for fun. We learn easily when we have fun. So, if my actually additional tip will be to learn Polish in digestible chunks. I run a special website dedicated for Polish learners, Digestible Polish, where I serve the Polish in manageable bite-sized chunks. So yeah, welcome to visit my website, digestiblepolish.com. If you would like to stay in touch, I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you think about learning Polish, I've got the special ideas, a special document, 10 ideas and tips for learning Polish that you can download for free from my website, digestiblepolish.com. I know sometimes it's not easy when to start, and as I said initially, I help people to start, beginners. Okay, and if you would like to take it even further, I also have Polish courses for beginners, where I offer my help as a native Pole, and for Polish for Polyglot gathering members, I have a special offer, special discount for my Digestible Polish series course. You can get 20% off with the code that you see on the screen. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. You learned something about Polish. Maybe you consider learning it as a next language. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. Tell me if you have any questions. Is there any questions? So I'm happy to answer. Is the cluster Z pronounced in only one way, or are there more ways depending on where the cluster is in a word? So Z on its own, it will be Z, but if it's followed by I, by E, then it comes software will be G. For example, dziękuję, basic word, dzień dobry. Okay? How many languages? Sorry, I'm reading on another screen, so I'm not facing you directly. How many languages do you speak? Which one was for you the most easiest, and which one the most difficult? How many languages I speak? So my native Polish, English, then French, French will be my strongest, actually. Spanish, then I speak Italian, learning German, like a very on-off relationship with German. So now I decided to actually sort it out. And then I used to live in Wales. I live close to Wales, and I had to go at the Welsh. That was really difficult. So the question, which was the most difficult, I think Welsh, actually, that was for me something completely different. I wanted to put myself in the shoes of my students and feel what they feel when learning Polish. And I wanted the challenge. I had it. That was the most difficult. And what was the easiest? Probably, I must say, Italian, because I started learning Italian after French, and then Spanish. So basically the same family of languages. It's easier, although need to be careful with not mixing. What are the typical mistakes in Polish that Russian natives make that you notice? Unfortunately, I won't be able to say from a Russian perspective. I can tell more about British speakers, because I live in the UK. I teach mainly British, and I never had a Russian person. Actually, I never thought a Russian person, but that would be interesting to find out. Would you recommend Babbel to learn Polish online? Babbel. It depends. How do you like learn? I think any type of resource, it's good if we like it and if it's enjoyable. I used Babbel in the past. Yes, I used Duolingo for different languages. Recommending, not using this at the moment. As I said, it's a question of trying something. If we like it, we carry on. If not, we change. We've got such a plethora of choice with a variety of resources that we can definitely find something which is good for us and for our learning style. Okay. What resources do you recommend to learn Polish? What resources to learn? So, Digestible Polish website and my YouTube channel, and then what I recommend. So I encourage to download my 10 tips and ideas ebook, where actually collected all the resources depending on what you want to work on. Is it for listening, for vocabulary, or for some activities? So definitely download my 10 tips and ideas for learning Polish. Many resources listed there. Okay, I think I don't see any more questions. All right, so I think that's it. So thank you very much for participating in my talk. Hope you found it useful and enjoyable. So dziękuję bardzo. We learned previously dziękuję. Thank you bardzo, very much. Dziękuję bardzo. And hopefully do widzenia and do zobaczenia, and see you in next year in Poland, in Teresin. Dziękuję. Do widzenia.